Hey there, what's going on everyone? Kurtzing back with a Open Ultra League battle video. Today I'm featuring Giratina, Shadow Ampharos, and Abomasnow. So we'll get right into it. I went 19-6 over 25 battles with this, starting with an 8-0 run, and I had a lot of fun with it. You'll see that I have Shadow Force on my Giratina. I do advise changing that. I did manage, you'll see actually, I think it's in this first battle, I do use the Shadow Force, and then for the rest of the 24 battles, I think I used it once. It takes so long to get to, and it just, especially with the Dragon Breath, it's just not viable. So I would recommend using a Giratina with either Shadow Sneak or Ancient Power. That would be better for you. But coming up here actually against the Swampert, I do use the Shadow Force, and it is pretty cool. So anyways, I started at 2053 or something like that elo, and you'll see that I climb up to 2250 something. So it's about 193 elo that I gained over 25 sets or 25 battles. Here comes the Shadow Force. Just about takes out the Swampert. I don't think they were expecting that, not that they could have shielded it anyways. So farming up here. Giratina with Dragon Breath instead of the Shadow Claw, I like because for darks, stuff like that, just it has such a good damage output. You just keep going. The whole premise behind this team and how I've been running it is I pretty much don't shield or switch out. I just simply Dragon Breath. If I build up to a Dragon Claw, I can throw it, but there's virtually nothing that's going to one-shot me, and I can do a bunch of damage. You'll see right there, the Swampert hit me with an Earthquake, and just the Dragon Breath damage alone were equal virtually in damage. And then I throw a Dragon Claw, another Dragon Claw. So it's able to force shields, and it makes people expend a bunch of energy and or swap out. So here they switch into their Dragonite, and I've got a Dragon Claw ready. So I'm going to fire that off. Gets the shield. They farm me down. I'm going to come in with Abomasnow because the Powder Snows are super effective. I shield this thinking they're going to superpower me. It's Dragon Claw bait, so I farm up. And at this point, I decide that I'm just going to farm down. I'm going to let them hit me with a superpower here, and I'm just going to come out with energy. So they have a Registeel in the back, so it's perfect for me. Registeel with lock on isn't going to be able to farm me down very fast. So I throw an energy ball, get to a second energy ball, and I throw this. And I'm hoping for the defense drop. I get it there, and then they do take me out. Come with it with my Shadow Ampharos, and I wasn't 100% sure how much damage one single move would do, so I shield the first one, start farming down. Now I have no shields, so it doesn't matter what they throw, I have to take it. Focus Blast does a good chunk, but I'm able to live that, so I like to know that moving forward into the battles. So I send a Brutal Swing, gets their shield, throw the next Brutal Swing, and that should take them out. I want to give a shout out to another content creator. Caesar is running a channel as well. I'm going to put the link in the description. And he actually was running Shadow Ampharos as well, and did a short on it where the people just quit. His opponent just quit as soon as they see it. And I actually noticed over the course of these 25 battles that I had a lot of people just quit once Ampharos came out, or if they got rid of the Ampharos but then I still had the Giratina left and stuff like that, they just ended up quitting on me. So I have edited this video down. I took out the losses and just kind of tried to keep some of the wins. Tried to keep it a little bit shorter. I'm sure nobody's gonna actually make it to the end of the video, but if you do, I really appreciate it. and hope you enjoyed the content. I wanted to leave as many of the wins in as I could, so that you could, if you're wanting to use this team, you could follow through, see the gameplay, see the decisions made, and see their focus blast did about half health. Zap Cannon takes out the Registeel. Pidgeot comes back in. I'm just going to farm down. And then in the back, they've got Cresselia. So I have Brutal Swing, and I think one more Volt Switch, and I'll get to a Brutal Swing. There, I've got another one. This should get their last shield. With Giratina as well, this would be another scenario where if I did have the Shadow Sneak, it would be a lot better. Because right now I have, all I can do is Dragon Breath down. Obviously I can throw a Dragon Claw, but it's not going to do nearly what a Shadow Sneak would do. So I shield up the Moonblast. I believe they have another Moonblast. I could have thrown the Dragon Claw there, but I was just trying to farm down. And then I still have my full health of Abomasnow in the back. Good game to my opponent there. Next match, Obstagoon on the lead is not, but this is where the Dragon Claw or the Dragon Breath is really handy, because you'll see there that I've already done a good chunk of damage. I let the first Night Slash go, farming up, throw a Dragon Claw, and like I said, my game plan throughout all of this was virtually I don't shield the Giratina. I want to save the shields for Ampharos and Abomasnow in the back. They send another Night Slash. I've got another Dragon Claw loaded. Send that. And they've been hitting me with super effective Night Slashes, and I've survived, and I have more health than theirs did until that. So they had to hit me with 3. Come in with Ampharos, get some farm. We got Trevenant in the back, and I throw Brutal Swing. I don't think they expect it. Does a little bit more than half. Shield up this, I think it's a Seed Bomb. Oh yeah, Seed Bomb made. Shield that up. Switch. We switched at the same time, and they switch into the Swampert. So I fire off an Energy Ball to start with. Gets the shield, and now I don't shield, because if it's a Hydro Cannon and they have Sludge Wave, now they've baited me, I have no shield, I have no chance. But let go. Actually, an Earthquake, so now I'm wave, so I just let the next one go. Farm up, throw an Energy Ball. Now at this point, if I get the shield, then I'll shield the next one, because I'm almost at another Energy Ball, which will take them out. But I'm worried about them catching, so I build up to it, and then they switch and they have a move. So unfortunate for me, they were just a little bit quicker there. And then I farm up, and now I've got the Zap Cannon almost loaded. And I know it's not super effective, but I figured out of the two, it's going to do the most damage. And sure enough, it takes them out. Into the next batch, Talonflame. This is where Ancient Power would be really handy on Giratina. I didn't see a ton of flyers in general, but when you do see the Talonflame, it would be handy to have the Ancient Power. So they throw a Flame Charge and then swap out, and they've got Umbreon. And Umbreon is actually quite difficult for this team to work around, but I don't know why I did this. I went for a Shadow Sneak or a Shadow Force, and it does almost no damage. So I swap out into Ampharos, shield the first one. Want to get to the Volt Switch, but now, yeah, throw the Volt Switch there. And then if they don't shield it, then every other move will, or if they shield it, I mean, their next move won't hit as hard. But I decided to shield that up again, and now I think that oh yeah, they swap out, and I go for another Zap Cannon to lower the attack on the Swampert. and not effective, and it still takes more than half the health. Like, it's a great move, especially on the Shadow Ampharos. They Hydro Cannon me, and what do they have on this one? Let's see, another Hydro Cannon. So I'm able to just fire him up, and at that point I was like, I'll just farm down, get a bunch of energy, because they still have the Talonflame and the Umbreon in the back. So I fire off a Weather Ball, get to another Weather Ball. I was worried this Incinerate was going to take me out, but I think I'm able to Powder Snow to another Weather Ball before the Incinerate actually hit. So I'm able to fire off 3 Weather Balls and I take out the Talonflame. So the Umbreon comes back in, and I'm in a pretty good spot here. I bring in the Giratina, figuring that they're going to throw right away. So they throw the Foul Play, take out the Giratina, and I come in 2 Volt Switches, and I get a Brutal Swing. So I throw that, and that should be a good game for that one. Had a lot of fun running this team. I'm actually going to run it more after I'm done this video as well, but I'm changing the Shadow Force off of my Giratina. So they switch into their Walrein, I bring in my Abomasnow. Either that or I wasn't paying attention and that was the lead. I think that was the lead, and I switched into the Abomasnow, because I didn't want to get locked in with Ampharos. So they bring in Golbat or Crobat, and fire off a Weather Ball here. I've got so far 2 things that can beat, or basically 2 things that can beat 2 of their Pokemon, but Ampharos can take care of both of them. So I wait, bring in Ampharos, and they throw a Poison Fang. I shielded thinking that they were going to Shadow Ball, and now it's like, okay, well, now do I take the Shadow Ball or do I use the second shield? And they at least throw the Shadow Ball, so that's good. And they have Giratina of their own in the back, but I've already got almost 2 Brutal Swings loaded. First one does over half health. Second one is going to take out the Giratina, and that's goodbye Giratina. Walrein comes back in. I quickly swap, and they just surrender. I knew it was game over at that point. How do you say that one? Cresselia Steel or something like that? Never faced one before. I was like, I don't even know what the moves are. Dragon Claw does almost no damage. I think, yeah, I just let it go. I'm like, I'm not sure what it is. Like, what do I do? And then it's like, okay, well, it's flying, but steel. So Abomasnow is not going to be very good against it. And so I switch into the Ampharos. And I think my plan here is just to farm down, build up some energy, save health. They Body Slam, shield it up, farm them down. They've got a Giratina in the back, and again I've got 2 Brutal Swings already. Ampharos with Volt Switch generates the Brutal Swings so fast. It gets to Zap Cannon quite quickly as well, but there you can see I'm already at pretty much 2 more. So I shield this one up, fire off another Brutal Swing. Gets their last shield, add another Brutal Swing, so I'll throw this. This should do a decent chunk. This Giratina is more bulky than the other one, so it doesn't do quite half the health. Bring in my Abomasnow. They have Ancient Power on theirs, so I build up to almost 2 Weather Balls here. Throw the first one, and they made a nice catch onto their Gyarados. So I'm farming up, and I'm trying to get to the Energy Ball. They get to an Aqua Tail that doesn't quite take me out, so I get to the Energy Ball, and this should take out the Gyarados. Their Giratina comes back in, and I've still got my Giratina and Ampharos, so I come back in. Probably could have farmed down there. They would have had to throw an energy, or I would have taken them out. and then Ampharos would have been able to take care of it. But good game. Giratina into Dragonite. I've been finding that this is actually a good lead for me, because although they have Dragon Claw, which I do shield this one, my Dragon Claw also does a lot of damage, and I'm bulkier, so my Dragon Breath does more damage to the Dragonite. As you can see there, I shield 1 and farm down. So we're equal for shields, and I still have good energy. They bring in a Scavalier. I fire off a Dragon Claw. Doesn't do very much damage, but I'm at another one. Fire that off. I'm trying to decide here, do I want to switch out, or do I want to let them basically farm me down? And then they throw, and I was like, okay, perfect. They can take me out, and then I can come in and not be locked in. So I come in with my Ampharos, shield up this Drill Run, and then they switch into Empoleon, which I thought was interesting. Go straight for Zap Cannon here. I want to drop their attack, and then I aggressively swap into Abomasnow. Caught the Hydro Cannon, which is perfect. And then I'm going to farm up to an Energy Ball. I get there just before they get to their Drill Peck. Fire that off. That doesn't quite take them out, but their defense falls as well. So they're going to hit me with a Drill Peck. I'm just going to farm down. And some lag there. I went for the Energy Ball on the Scavalier because it just hits harder than the Powder Snow or the Weather Ball. I wasn't sure if it would take it out, but there's a 5-0 set. Climbing up in the ranks. I think I show right here that I had lost 2 battles in a row, and then I won 3, and then 5 in a row. So I was at an 8-0 run, like I said. Another Obstagoon lead, and you can see the Dragon Breath just chunking away. Really good fast move pressure. They throw an Obstruct. I let that go. Building up. We've got 2 Dragon Claws. I just start throwing. I wanted to start chipping away, but see, they're already at half health, and I barely have any damage. I think they throw a Night Slash now, which does a good chunk. So if they throw another Night Slash, it'll just about take me out. So I throw that Dragon Claw, and then don't quite get to the next one, but I don't think this quite takes me out. I just managed to live, and they take me out just before the Dragon Claw. But now I'm able to come in and get some energy on my Ampharos, and I know that they have Night Slash and Obstruct, so I let it go. My defense falls, take them out. They bring in Venusaur. So I'm going to throw the Volt Switch at them, or the Zap Cannon, sorry. Does a huge amount of damage and drops their attack. So I bring in Abomasnow, shield up the Sludge Bomb. They switch into a Giratina and give up. Like they knew that there was nothing they could do at that point. Giratina into Gliscopod, I think that is. Farming up a bunch of energy, they switch into a Grand Ball. So I go to my Abomasnow and go for an Energy Ball. The good thing about Energy Ball is even if they shield it, there's a good chance that their defense will drop, but they let it go. It's perfect for me. So I just fire them up, and I'm going to shield up this. It should be a close combat. Would be taking me out, but I'm able to Powder Snow down before they get to another one. And what do they have? They bring it back in, the weird bug thing. Fire off a Weather Ball. They do shield that up because Energy Ball would be super effective, I think, or it would be at least neutral but hit hard. Bring in Ampharos, and they aggressive swap into Dragonite, which is okay by me. I let this go. It's just a Dragon Claw. Ampharos is surprisingly bulky for being a shadow. It can take a lot of hits. or like there's a lot of things that it can easily take one of without being threatened. Giratina comes back in, does a Dragon Claw. They bring back in the strange bug thing, go for another Dragon Claw, and just start farming down. And there's really nothing they could do. They just stop and give up. So another match that they just give up. Giratina into Walrein. This is not good for me. But like I said, I typically try to stay in, but I figured I'd try to catch the Icicle Sphere here. Catch out on my Abomasnow. And of course they have a Fire Fighter in the back. So Abomasnow pretty much is getting deleted as fast as it possibly can. But I get a shield, so that's a positive thing. Come back in with Giratina. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's not going to have anything that's going to hurt me, right? So Blaze Kick, yeah, we're going to let that go. Dragon Claw. Just try to get some chip damage here. I know that I've got Ampharos in the back for Walrein. So, it works for me. And then they Brave Bird me. I was like, what? But, able to farm down there. Switch in, they have Walrein. And they bring in Muck. And I shield this, and I think the Acid sprayed me. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna totally lose this game. Fire off of Zap Cannon here. And they don't shield it. And now it's Walrein with a shield. And Ampharos with weak defense, or dropped defense. So I got to a Brutal Swing here. I'm almost at 2 actually. Fire off the first one, gets the shield. Can I get to the next one? I get to the next Brutal Swing, and this should take out the Walrein. So, good game to my opponent. Looked a little dicey at the beginning there, but I managed to pull that through. And that was a 4-1 set. I think that's what I was at there, yeah. So now, into the next one, Machamp, and then they switched into Beware, and I was like, oh man. What do I do with that? Like, they've got 2 answers for Abomasnow. Like, which way do I go here? What do I bring in? So I go for Ampharos, shield up the payback, and then I clicked, and I threw another move somehow while I clicked. But I got to the Brutal Swing, they shield. So I was like, okay, well, I'll throw right away again then. And they shield again. So I was like, okay. They must want to try to get rid of my Ampharos. Gonna shield again, and it's a superpower. Then they got Machamp in the back with no shields, but unfortunately, I knew that the Brutal Swing wasn't going to do much. So I was trying to get to the Zap Cannon. They take me out with a Cross Chop, and then I bring back in my Giratina, throw the Dragon Claw. This should almost take out the Machamp. Not quite, but almost able to farm down, and they get to a move. But it's not going to do anything. Farm down. They've got a Swampert in the back. And I believe that they Sludge Wave me. And I live, so they just give up. Yeah, Sludge Wave. I live. They switch. I don't throw. So they came back and they gave up right there. They knew the game was over. So a good game to my opponent. I had a lot of those games. It was probably the most that I've had in a long time where they just give up. Giratina into Giratina. I figured that I'd just stay in here, farm up, throw the moves as I got them. Didn't want to waste the shields either. Kind of want to keep, like I said before, keep them for later in the game. Giratina just is a bulky tank, so it soaks up a bunch of energy. I get to another Dragon Claw here. Let's see if they decide to shield. They don't, they let it go, so I have one switch. Or not switch, I won the lead. They bring in Swampert, and I don't want to switch out and lock myself in, obviously. I want alignment here. So I stay in, throw the Dragon Claw, and I know they're going to farm me down. Can't quite get to another Dragon Claw, but look at that. Their Swampert's already almost dead. And I haven't had to use a shield. Shield up the Earthquake, thinking it might be a Sludge Wave. But again, now that it's Earthquake, I don't need to shield anything from it. So I'm able to fire off the Weather Ball. They shield. Farm up. I'm just going to let this go. It's another Earthquake. And then they switch into a Machamp. So I go for the Energy Ball here, hoping to drop their defense or get their shield. And they don't shield, but their defense drops. So I come in, a couple Volt Switches, and they surrender. Into the next match. Giratina into Nidoqueen, and then they switch into Umbreon. I'm like, this is not going to be an easy match. Dragon Claw, and then I believe I'm going to look to switch into my Ampharos. This is a matchup where if Ampharos had Focus Blast, it would be ideal, as long as they didn't shield it. Let the first one go, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to need to start shielding. They're going to just take me out, because they're going to outpace me. Unless I go to Brutal Swings, which isn't going to do any damage. So I get to the Zap Cannon. And then I think I go to... No, I let this one go. And it does a big chunk of damage. Get to Brutal Swing as they switch into their Nidoqueen again. I'm almost dead. Takes out some damage. And then I think they Poison Fang me, which doesn't do much damage. And the Dragon Breaths are starting to add up, so I'm Dragon Clawing down. But keep in mind, they still have Umbreon, and I'm not sure what their third is. They've got a shield, so I don't want to shield anything here, but I've taken a Poison Fang. So they Earth Power me. Now I'm getting low on health on my Giratina. Throw right away, and it's a Lapras that they bring in. So I'm like, okay, well, I could potentially make this work. Depending on what the Lapras has, I don't need to shield it at all. I'm like, that was way too fast for anything other than a Surf, so I let this go. Doesn't do a big amount of damage, but they switch into their Umbreon. I think they were trying to catch, but it worked out well for me anyways, because I needed to get rid of the Umbreon. And the Energy Ball worked well. It does more damage than the Weather Ball does. Get their shield with the Weather Ball, so I respect and shield up the Foul Play as well, trying to keep some energy or health. Get to another Weather Ball. I think they probably could have thrown there, or we'd CMP'd or something. They bring back in the Lapras, and this shouldn't take me out. Yeah, it does only about half the health there. Get to an Energy Ball, and this is going to do a big amount of damage. And then I believe I aggressive swap and farm down with Dragon Breath, yeah. So the Dragon Breath works really well for those quick farm downs. Another Giratina and Dragonite lead, and it's a Shadow Dragonite. But you can see, even with the Shadow, I'm still outpacing it. They're almost half health. So here I do shield, because it's a Shadow Dragonite, and I have a move loaded as well, so I figure if I commit the shield, either I'll take them out or I'll get the shield back, and then I outpace them and farm them down. So either way, like, I still won that lead, right? And then here's where Shadow Sneak would be really nice. I'd already have one, and I'd be able to throw it at the Mewtwo, but that's okay. I'm just going to stay in, do as much damage as I can, throw 2 Dragon Claws here before I get taken out, and then I can bring in my Ampharos, and I'm not locked in, which is nice. And they aggressively swap right away into their Charizard. And I was like, okay, well, that works for me. Last second, I shield this, thinking it's going to be a Blast Burn. Have a Brutal Swing. Probably at that point should have just farmed down, but throw the Brutal Swing, have another one. They're going to have to shield this. And then I don't want to get farmed down here. And they throw a move. Side Strike, yeah. So now I'm like, okay, I don't want to get farmed down, so I aggressively swap. They're going to have to throw another move here now. and it doesn't take me out, so I get to a weather ball, and I think that's a good game. Should just about take him out if it doesn't. Doesn't quite take him out, and I'm able to power snow down, and that's a good game. Another 4-1 set. As you can see, I'm climbing up. I'm up over 2200 now, and I believe this is the last set. Not the last, but it's the last set of 5 games. Drapion lead. Again, a little bit tricky. Crunch is super effective against the Giratina. If I switch into Ampharos, they can fire off Aqua Tails if they've got them. And with Abomasnow, their fast move is I think Poison Sting or something like that. So they've kind of got play all around my whole team. But as you can see, I just stay in, I take 2 crunches, I don't use a shield, and I ended up winning the lead anyways. So now we're both down, shields are up, and they've got Umbreon again, so I'm going to shield the first move. It's foul play, and building up to a Zap Cannon, I'm going to throw the Zap Cannon. It'll drop their attack if nothing else, and I think I let this one go. Yeah, let this go. Another foul play. They swap into Cresselia, which works out for me because I've got Brutal Swings. So I throw that. I thought there, I was like, oh, maybe I should have done a Zap Cannon to drop their attack so they can't fight back quite as good against Ampharos. But I went for the Brutal Swing. I outpaced them that way. I'm almost at 2 again here. Throw this one. Gets the shield. One more Volt Switch. I was worried I got locked in there and missed the move, but I got it. Just about take them out, and I tried to swap, but they threw anyways, so that worked out for me. Takes out my Ampharos, and then the aggressive swap into Umbreon. And I got a decent amount of energy going right now, but they throw a foul play, and I was like, oh, okay, that's not actually going to do that much damage. I'm going to be able to take a handful of those. So I'll throw an energy ball here. Do not get the defense drop, but that's okay. Does a good chunk. And now at this point I feel like I'm just going to weather ball. No, I build up to the energy ball. Okay, never mind. And that takes out the Umbreon, and then able to farm down the Cresselia. Good game there to my opponent. Giratina into Escavalier again. I'm just going to stay in here. They switch out. They bring in their Giratina. I'm curious as to why they waited so long. Let me build up a bunch of energy. Fire off your Dragon Claw. And now, because they switched and they locked themselves in, I'm like, well, I'll switch, lock myself into the Abomasnow. And I know that the Abomasnow is going to beat the Giratina. But they have Ancient Power, they throw it, they get their boost. So it's actually looking a lot closer, but I get a shield from them. I shield this, thinking it might be another Ancient Power, and it is. So now I'm farming about a Weather Ball and a half here. Throw this Weather Ball. Takes them out. I'm like, okay, perfect. They're going to save the shield. What are they going to come in with? They bring back in the Escavalier. So again, game plan, always try to get the attack debuffs or the defense debuffs. Throw that, don't get the debuff. Come back in with Giratina. If I come in with Giratina, I don't have to shield anything. If I come in with Ampharos, then I have to shield, and they're going to outpace me before they're going to get to 2 drill runs before I get to enough damage to take them out and the shield. So I come in there. They switch into Cresselia, which is working out perfect for me because I can easily beat Cresselia with the Ampharos, or even on shields. They block that first one, and I shield the first move. Should have let that one go as it was Grass Knot, but I should still be able to outpace them here. Get to the second one, they're out of shields, does a good amount of damage, and they aren't going to one-shot me here, so they go for a Moonblast. And I'm at another Brutal Swing, which will take out the Cresselia. Yeah, takes out. Switch back in aggressively to my Giratina, figuring that they're going to throw right away. And they throw another Mega Horn. And I'm out of Dragon Claw, and I think that takes them out. And that's a good game there. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. I'm going to be very surprised if anybody watches this far. Hopefully people will skip through and pick out some battles. There's been some really fun ones, very close ones. But for those of you that do watch the whole video, I really appreciate you. And if you can leave a like or subscribe, leave a comment, really appreciate it. Luxray into Giratina, trying to farm down here. I think I come into shield, yeah, and they wild charge me. So now I'm down a shield, but I got a bunch of energy, and I've taken out their first one. And this is where, again, Ancient Power would be very handy here. This is the second time, well, the one that I messed up on with the Umbreon, but there is another Shadow Force that nobody expected, but the chances of getting to it are so slim that I would not recommend using it. But here they're down to their last Pokemon, so I'm like, oh well, you know what, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to build up and use a Zap Cannon, and then even though they're going to be super effective against my Abomasnow, the snow moves are also super effective against them. So I think I shield, no, I let the first one go, and then I'm farming up, and I'm almost at 2 Weather Balls here, and they're gonna have to shield one, and then I'm gonna shield, and I think I get to 2 more Weather Balls before they are able to get to another Sacred Sword. There's the 1 Weather Ball. Fire that off. Oh, and here they get to it last second, but I'm able to come in with Ampharos and do 1 Volt Switch and take them out. That was another good game, and I think this is the last battle. Buzzwole into Giratina. I started seeing some very, very random teams. One that actually beat me had Galarian Moltres on it, and Hisuian Avalugg, and something else, I forgot what it was, but it was just so random. I think it may have been a regular Articuno, but it was just so random. I was like, I very, very, very close. I almost pulled it out, but I ended up losing that one. So Giratina, Abomasnow, gonna let this go, calling it as a Dragon Claw, and it was. Get to another Weather Ball. This should take out the Giratina. So that takes out the Giratina, and that's a good game. So as you can see, I climbed up to 2246. I believe that is. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.